Hello, in this video I'm talking about agoraphobia and driving anxiety. So I'm going to take a look at what agoraphobia is, what causes it, how you can fix it, and also I'm going to tell you a funny story about how I have a form of agoraphobia myself. So this is something I can relate to very well. So what is agoraphobia? Well, many people falsely think it's just a fear of open spaces. So for example, now you see I'm joining the motorway and we're going up to 70 miles an hour. And this is when many people with agoraphobia would start to panic and sweat and feel terrible. But it's more than just open spaces. It's more than just a fear of when you can see the horizon. It's really a fear of any situation where you feel you don't have an escape or you don't have any kind of help if it was needed. So many people will say to me that they feel fine driving now, but if they do this and they go to overtake this truck, they'd feel bad because now there's no escape, there's nowhere to pull over. What we call a hard shoulder in the UK on the left, that free lane, it's not there. No, I can't stop anywhere, there's people around me, everyone's watching me. And it's a situation where you feel you just can't escape and there's no help. So what causes this? Well, it can be caused by many things, but my experience of working with people who have this problem is that most often, as I've said in many of my other videos, it comes back to an old feeling, an old memory replaying. So quite simply, you are reliving something in your mind that's been triggered by this lack of control. Now sometimes it can be that problem itself is from a time you weren't in control. So an example of someone I worked with once was they had this problem every time they went out driving and they could see the horizon and the road was open, they felt panicked and they were shaking, and especially if they drove somewhere new they hadn't been before, they felt really bad. And what their problem came back to, which we found out using hypnosis, they went back in their mind to find the source of this feeling. For them, it went back to a time they were locked in a cupboard as a child. And I won't say any more than that because it's quite personal. I don't explain, I don't want to go into clients' personal details in this video. Which way should I go? I'll go this way for a change. I'm just going to go somewhere new so I don't always drive on the same old roads. And that might be something you have trouble doing if you've got agoraphobia. So you see, their fear was nothing to do with driving, it was actually to do with being locked in a cupboard as a kid. And when they drove, they were reliving that feeling. Why? As I often say, don't worry about the why. Do wait for the lights to go green before you go through. but don't worry about the why. So why you've got it is irrelevant. Why it comes up when you drive, that's where some people go wrong. Because if you read about this stuff, you'll often be told that it's really complex. Well, the reason people say it's really complex is sometimes because they look into it so much and they analyse it so much. They say, oh, this is really complicated. Well, it's sometimes not if you just forget all that and concentrate on actually fixing it, which you do by finding the cause of this repressed memory, feeling, emotion, whatever you want to call it, this event. So how do you do that? Well, you do it with hypnosis, and I won't go over all that now because I've done this in other videos many times before. But hypnosis is not a lot of people think. It isn't this spooky, weird stuff where you have to go into a trance and have your mind controlled and all that stuff. That's not what it's about. I'm going to go this way, so I'm going to pull in behind this truck. So, yeah, that's what it is. It's not just a fear of open space, it's a fear of not having control of a situation. And let me tell you what my kind of agoraphobia is, in a way. I don't know if you call this agoraphobia. Again, don't get hung up on these labels and whatever. It is what it is. But everyone has fears and phobias of some kind, and if you say you don't, it just means you don't know what they are, because everyone has some kind of fears, phobias, this car's got this annoying fear thing where it keeps beeping to say I'm speeding because he doesn't know see the speed changes. But anyway, my biggest really fear or phobia, which is a form of agoraphobia, is marriage. I absolutely dread being married, and I'm not married, I'm single. I've always been single, I probably always will be single, because I just can't stand the idea of being married. And the reason I'm telling you this is because you might look at this and think, that's really stupid, I've been married for years, what's the problem? Well, this is the thing, we all have our own things that we don't like. And when I work with people online who have driving anxiety, they will very often tell me, oh, I've just got to find someone to look after the kids when we do our session. My husband, my wife, whatever, needs to look after the kids. And I always think that's so funny. These people are married with kids and all that responsibility. I couldn't do that. I could never do that. That's my biggest nightmare, is to be married. I mean, it's just terrible, the thought of being married and being tied to someone, and your finances are all mixed together and you're living in a house with someone else. Yeah, no, no way. I've even had nightmares where, a few weeks ago I had a nightmare. I was in a church and they was playing that wedding song, that Here Comes the Bride, or whatever it is. That kind of da 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 da, whatever that song is, I don't know, the wedding march, whatever it is. And as I was in the church, everyone was turning and laughing at me, pointing at me and laughing. It's like, ah, ha, ha, you're going to get married, ah. And I woke up in a massive sweat, laughing, thinking, it was just a dream. I'm not really married. So I don't want to get too much off topic, but the point is, I want you to know that, because you may hear that and think, well, that's really weird. Why would anyone be scared of being married? It's what I've always wanted. Your fear of driving is as strange to me as my fear of marriage would be to you. Because my thing about marriage is nothing to do with marriage, it's nothing to do with that. It's something else that I can work on, and that's what the problem really is. And I'm changing lanes a lot here because the road's changed since I last came here. You have to be in this lane now to go this way. Anyway, so yeah, the point is that the problem isn't the problem. So there is absolutely no point in working on the driving, fixing the driving anxiety. It isn't driving at all. That's not the issue. So you have to find what the issue truly is, and when you release that, that will release your driving problem, which isn't a driving problem, it's just something else that's coming out when you drive. So common things people say about this, other ways you can show up when driving, it can be a fear of, like for example, there's this speed cameras, these traffic enforcement cameras, whatever you want to call them. I've known people who have a fear of these, where they say every time I go past one, I'm checking my speedo again and again and again, and I'm watching my dashcam footage back, and I've got the speed on the windscreen, and I'm saving the footage on my hard drive, and I'm waiting weeks and weeks to see if I've been caught. When you haven't even been caught, that's another form of you just fearing not being in control of a situation. You're fearing what's going to happen. And the fear is always greater than what actually happens. A brilliant saying is, fear is greater in thought than ever in deed. So fear is always worse in your head than it is, what actually happens. Traffic lights here. A lot of people say they get scared at traffic lights when they stop. To say, I'm okay if I'm rolling like this, and if it goes green, I'm fine. But if I have to stop, I feel like everyone's staring at me and everyone's watching me. These are all different forms of a problem. And again, I don't label it, because people can say, oh, that's not really agoraphobia. I don't get mixed up in these labels of it's this and it's that and it's that. Who cares if you label it? That's where people go wrong, because if you're labeling it, it means you're analysing it and you're wanting to put all this scientific stuff into it, when it's a trapped emotion. And you can't analyse and scientifically come up with a solution for emotions, because they're emotions that can be irrational and illogical. As I've mentioned in other videos, why do you love a particular person and not another person? You can't pin it down, you can't tick a box. this is, in my opinion, one of the big problems with the world today, is that so many people want to tick boxes for everything. Oh, is it this? Is it this? Is it that? Stop analysing and categorising things and putting everything into boxes. Big branch just fell off the tree there. Got hit by the truck, I think. So yeah, it is what it is, and that's why what I do so often works. Not always, I'm always honest, it doesn't always work. But if you find what is old, repressed memory, event, whatever it is, that's how you fix agoraphobia. Not always, there can be more to it than that. But I've done it with people who said, I've had this thing where when I drive I feel terrible, and then it gets better and the problem goes, and brilliant. So check out these other videos of mine on the screen for more help with your driving. And if you want to work with me one-to-one online from anywhere in the world, contact me through my website, firstdrive.com. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you again soon for more videos.